Greetings everyone, today is Friday, November 6th. It is 4:37 p.m. and the temperature is around 16 degrees Celsius. I'm currently walking along Ferry Street here in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. And the plan for this one is to head on over to Clifton Hill, which is the main tourist area here in Niagara Falls. And then from there, I'll walk down to the American and Horseshoe Falls and take a look at those. And then I'll probably stop recording. And I was thinking of firing up a live stream after this walk. So we'll have to see how that goes. I haven't been to this part of Niagara Falls in, I think, about a year and a half or so. So I don't really know what to expect. I've heard it's been rather devastated from the pandemic, as this part of Niagara Falls is quite reliant on the tourist industry. The United States border is just on the other side of the falls, and it's not uncommon to see a whole lot of American license plates in this area. There are two large casinos, both of which aren't operating at the moment. Although, unlike Toronto, I do believe restaurants and bars are open for dine-in service. I can't imagine these motels and hotels had a particularly good year. So I would assume most of the people we see in this area are locals. That's the Skyline Tower off in the distance there. And this street here is Stanley Avenue. A few blocks from here, Ferry Street will turn into Victoria Avenue. And in the other direction at Main Street, it'll turn into Lundy's Lane, which is a well-known retail area in Niagara Falls. There's an all-you-can-eat buffet, although I don't think buffets are allowed to operate as they normally would right now. And even though it's not the peak tourist season, I'd still imagine a Friday evening would be a lot busier around here, especially on a pretty nice night like this. Looks like there's a lineup at the LCBO, which is the Ontario Run Liquor Store. I am recording this walk with my new Pocket 2 camera. This is just the fourth time I've been able to take it out and record a walk. I can't imagine the room prices would be a whole lot right now. I remember this place being open the last time I was through here, but that was over a year ago. It'll be interesting to see how many businesses have fallen victim to the virus in this part of the province. They aren't under the same stricter lockdown that we are in Toronto. Although coming from Toronto, it's a bit unusual to see people enjoying a meal indoors like they are at that Hooters. I don't know if enjoying is the right word to use for that place, but at least they're inside. And I believe we're on Victoria Avenue right now. We're supposed to have good weather this weekend, so I'm wondering if people from around Ontario will come into Niagara and spend some money. Perhaps I'll end my live stream at that Popeyes. One thing you will see around here a fair bit are stores selling Cuban cigars. I think that's particularly appealing to visitors from the US who aren't able to purchase those legally stateside. And here is the Niagara Speedway. As well as some rather expensive parking. Right where I started this walk, there's actually a number of parking spots where you can park for free. So that's typically where I park when I come into Niagara Falls. It looks like there's people in the speedway. There's just not a whole lot of cars on the track right now. I guess it's some socially distanced go-karting. The skywheel there is moving as well. It's kind of curious how these businesses are allowed to operate, yet Canada's Wonderland wasn't given a pass to open up this year. There's a large amusement center in there as well, a lot of arcade games and that sort of thing. I'll come in and take a look at this miniature complex once I turn south down Clifton Road, which is right here. There's a lot of funny houses and various attractions on Clifton Hill. You can certainly spend a whole lot of money in a very short period of time here. House of Cuban Cigars. So this is kind of the famous view looking down at Clifton Hill. Normally in the summer, you'd be shoulder to shoulder with all the tourists here. And this is Ripley's Believe It or Not, which is a rather dated but still fun museum. There's a blacklight golf course.
When you brush up against the guillotine, it's all inside.
And that's a rather iconic shot of
In the house of Frankenstein.
Niagara Falls.
Come in and kill a little time with us.
So just up here to the right is the Speedway go-kart track. There's a large dinosaur-themed mini golf course. And the Niagara Skywheel. So it says for adults it's $12.99 and children $6.99. That's certainly cheaper than the big wheel in Las Vegas, at least. Although I think the one in Vegas is a bit bigger than that one. This area's got a bit of a tacky Vegas tourist vibe to it. Although I guess that's a big part of the appeal. And we're back to Clifton Hill. That's the original casino in the background there on that white tower. That would be Casino Niagara. They have since built Falls View Casino just over to the side, more towards the falls themselves. Well, it looks like the Great Canadian Midway isn't open. It's a very large arcade area with bowling. It's a bit surprising to see that they're closed, but some of the other amusement centers aren't.
Test your acrobatic skill. Will you escape fast enough to make our top?
Welcome to the haunted house.
Where every day is Halloween.
That's right. All these hidden
Represents the group on shots. Be sure to upload and tag them so I can see them too.
Movie Land, the Wax Museum to the Stars, doesn't appear to be open. There's a look north up Clifton Hill. That's the Rainforest Cafe. A lot of those have been disappearing. This is the only one still operating in Ontario that I can think of. And just off in the distance there are the American Falls.
Butters.
These light installations are kind of neat. Perhaps I'll wander through that area on my live stream. That's all still contingent on there being a strong enough signal to stream from down here. So that's the bridge to the USA right there. If you bring your passport, you can actually walk across that bridge, although that wouldn't be such a good idea during this pandemic. You probably won't be allowed into the US. So just across the street there is, or rather are, the American Falls. And way off in the distance there would be where Marineland is located, a large amusement park, which to my knowledge has not opened this year, along with Canada's Wonderland. And that's the Niagara Falls skyline there. We'll get a better look at that in a few minutes. And here is where you would board the Hornblower, which will give you a ride pretty much right into the base of the Horseshoe Falls, way off into the distance there. Those would be the American Falls. And off in the distance, the Horseshoe Falls. That's the area where you would normally board the Hornblower. Of course, I don't think that's been running all year. Neither has the American counterpart, the Maid of the Mist, which you would board just over there. And it looks like the US observation deck of the falls is not open right now. So if you are on the US side, that's pretty much the only way you can get much of a view of them. That is Niagara Falls, New York, off in the background there. Right around here, there's a zip lining attraction where you could zip line from this base here and run along the cliffside. But of course, that doesn't seem to be operating this year. Hopefully all this stuff will be back up and running for next summer. That rainbow there says, "Welcome to Niagara Falls." I did see some videos online that showed this place to be quite busy earlier on during the pandemic.
What did she say?
And that's the American Casino straight ahead. One thing that's just occurring to me now is as you get closer to the Horseshoe Falls, you often find yourself walking in a cloud of mist and getting a little wet, and this is my new camera that is not waterproof. I kind of decided that when I'd be walking through weather conditions where the camera might get damaged, I would use my old one. So I guess I didn't really think this through, but it's kind of neat to be able to use the new one here.
Well, put him in here and buckle him.
And I'm not sure when, but at some point, I think around the 60s, the relevant authorities actually turned off the American Falls. So they diverted all the water around it. So there are pictures online of these falls with no water going over the edge. It's just a bare pile of rocks. So that's kind of neat. I'm going to take a little detour here and go up to the street. I'm not super familiar with this area, so I couldn't tell you what this grand old building is straight ahead. Maybe I'll just zoom in on it rather than walk over there. Just want to take a look at some of these light sculptures, or whatever you'd call them over here. This area was the scene of a battle between the United States and what was then the British-led Canada. There's actually a battlefield up on Lundy's Lane. I think it was the Battle of 1814. So between that and the history of damming Niagara Falls to generate electricity, there's a lot of history in this area. And a lot of people feel it's a bit of a shame how commercialized it's been. It would have been an ideal setting for a provincial or a national park. I'll head back over to alongside the falls now. There doesn't seem to be any marked crossings. Oh, there's one. I'm obviously blind. There's always a lot of people as you get towards the falls, or the Horseshoe Falls, crowding around the edge.
صار قبل ما تصورون
I can't recall it ever being so pleasant around here. You can certainly see all the moisture building up on the walkway. So that's why I'm a bit concerned about my camera, but if it dies, so be it. Let's see what kind of view we can get from here. It's really quite a stunning sky just up ahead. Definitely walking through some heavy mist now. That's Casino Niagara up there, or Falls View actually. Casino Niagara is the other one. It's unusual to see it without its sign lit up. I think the two casinos here are one of, if not the biggest source of employment in the region. So that's got to be rather devastating that they're not able to operate. And I don't really know how to protect my camera from this. Definitely feels like I'm being rained on right now. So what I will do is power walk over here to the edge of the Horseshoe Falls where you can get a pretty spectacular view. Then maybe I'll try to snap a few pictures with my S20 as these conditions are quite nice. It's weird, it feels like there's less mist here than there was just a few minutes earlier, which is actually further away from the falls. That must just be how the wind is blowing. Just up ahead here is where the big money shot is, where you can get nice and close to the edge of the falls. There's a horribly overpriced and not very good touristy restaurant in this building. I would just avoid eating around here in general. You could certainly find better places if you go just a bit into town. There's an interesting flying saucer themed diner on Lundy's Lane I would recommend. It's kind of a neat experience. Usually you kind of have to fight for a spot in this area. All right, I think I will call this one a walk. I'd like to thank you for watching this walk through Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. There are links to my Patreon and Instagram in the description, as well as a link to channel memberships on the main YouTube page. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next one.